Dead Island 2 is fine. It's not amazing, it's not terrible, it doesn't really try to be either. What it is fun, it's dumb, it's violent, and it's brainless in a good way. It knows what it's doing and what it's not even going to attempt. So let's explore why. But before we do that, if you do end up enjoying the video, then please consider subscribing, as we are trying to reach 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. But enough of that nonsense, let's start with the weapons. Combat is where Dead Island 2 really leans in. It's not especially deep, but it is deeply satisfying. Every hit feels like it connects with real force, there's weight to your swings, a sense of impact that makes the simplest melee fights fun to be a part of. The game wants you to see the damage you're doing. Limbs fly off, jaws shatter, heads cave in. It's unapologetically gory, but it's also exaggerated to the point of being cartoonish. Think B-movie energy with just enough polish to keep it enjoyable. And the weapons are the main part of this. There are a lot of them, not just in quantity, but in variety. You've got blunt instruments that stagger enemies and send them flying, sharp blades that slice through limbs with ease, and longer range melee weapons that give you space to control a crowd. It's not just cosmetic, these categories do feel quite distinct, and each one encourages a slightly different playstyle. Layered on top of that are the elemental mods. You can modify your gear to shock, burn, melt or corrode the undead, and the way the game integrates these effects into the environment makes them feel more than just flashy add-ons. If you lure a group of zombies into a puddle, then hit them with an electrified weapon, then they will get electrocuted. Spray some fuel around and follow it up with a flame attack and chaos. Crafting supports all of this experimentation too. You gather scraps, open toolkits and patch together ridiculous weapons at workbenches scattered throughout the world, and it works well. The system's simple enough that it never slows you down, but flexible enough to let you keep your favourites relevant as you level up. Eventually though, the guns show up, and that is where things start to wobble a little bit. At first they are exciting, you've spent hours smashing in skulls in close quarters, so having a little distance suddenly feels quite powerful, but the longer you use them, the more it starts to feel like a bit of a shortcut. Guns are very strong, especially in the back half of the game. Shotguns tear through groups like tissue paper, rifles bring down tougher zombies in seconds, but despite this power they feel kind of flat. The sound design doesn't really sell the punch and there is not much tactile feedback at all. It's hard to shake the feeling that you're just pointing and clicking. And since ammo isn't particularly difficult to come upon, guns shift from being a rare tool to your main approach, which undercuts a lot of what makes the melee combat so good. You go from feeling like a creative zombie slayer to just mowing things down. It is efficient, sure, but I don't think it's anywhere near as fun. So combat in Dead Island 2 is at its best when it's close, messy and stupidly violent. The game gives you all the tools to make that work. It just also hands you guns that kind of ruin the mood a little bit. For a zombie game, Dead Island 2 does offer a decent range of enemies, at least at first glance. You've got your basic walkers, the slow shuffling ones that are really just there to be cannon fodder, then there are the runners which are faster and will follow you for bloody ages. You can run across an entire hub area and these things will still be directly behind you, very very annoying. The game does later escalate with tougher enemies, ones that scream, or explode, or charge at you like a train. On the surface it feels like there's a solid mix, but the more you play, the more it starts to feel like these enemies are just the usual suspects. They're all pulled from the well-worn zombie playbook, the tanky brute, the acid spitter, the exploder that punishes you for getting too close. You've seen all of these before in pretty much any zombie game that's come out previously. That's not to say that they're bad though, they serve a purpose. There's a reason these archetypes are in every single zombie game. They mix things up just enough to keep combat from turning into a one-note slugfest. The game throws them at you in different combinations and contexts, which helps make some encounters feel a little bit more dynamic. Sometimes you'll be juggling a crowd while a screamer disables your stamina bar in the background. Other times, a fire zombie walks into a gas puddle and turns the whole fight into an accidental boss arena. But ultimately, there's nothing that truly surprises you. No new twist on the zombie formula, no enemy type that catches you off guard in any meaningful way. What's here is functional, it keeps the pacing up and gives your weapons a good excuse to exist, but it never pushes beyond what you'd expect from a game like this. And that is kind of the running theme of Dead Island 2. It's all fine. You'll have fun tearing through enemies, but by the mid to late game, they will start to blur together a lot. You've seen what the game has to offer, and from then on, it's just remixing pieces you already know. It doesn't mess up its enemy design, it just doesn't elevate it either, and it plays it a little bit too safe. Dead Island 2 might not have the most original combat or the freshest zombies, but it does absolutely nail its setting. LA, or Helle, as the game keeps reminding you, repeatedly. They were really proud of this joke for some reason. It's loud, it's ridiculous, and it's exactly the kind of place this game belongs in. It's not going for gritty realism or grounded apocalypse. This is a satirical, sun-bleached hellscape where social media influencers get devoured on livestream. The tone is absurd and self-aware, and the world matches that beat for beat. You move through wildly different slices of LA life, from Hollywood backlots and beachside gyms to ultra-rich neighbourhoods and downtown hotels that have turned into meat grinders. Each zone feels like it was designed around a joke, and for the most part, the game does stick that landing. It's not subtle, oh god it's not subtle, but it is entertaining. And the decision to structure the game around sort of hub worlds instead of going full open world was, in my opinion, really quite smart. It keeps the pacing tight. You're not just wandering across a massive map just to get to the next thing. You're dropped into these focused areas that are just big enough to feel lived in, but never large enough to feel bloated. And it's an approach that keeps the game moving at a decent pace. And I find that really refreshing in the current gaming era where everything wants to be 80 hours long. But that doesn't mean everything inside these hubs is gold. The side quests, and there are a lot of them, lean heavily on repetition. You'll get familiar with the formula pretty quickly. Obviously you go somewhere, you kill some things, you pick up something and you come back. Repeat. Sometimes there might be a quirky NPC or a weird scenario to dress it up, but the core of these missions rarely changes, and I platinumed the game. I did damn near everything. They feel like filler, not offensively bad, just there to pad things out. If the main story didn't give you enough zombie killing, then hey, side quests, kill more. And, you know, maybe that's enough for a game like this. Because when this main story does decide to go big though, it actually does deliver. There are some set pieces that feel quite cinematic, not big budget, Naughty Dog or anything like that, but, I don't know, ones that fit the tone of the game. You'll fight through a movie set, you'll battle hordes near a Ferris wheel. These moments might not be revolutionary, but they're stylish and the right kind of dumb. They're the parts of Dead Island 2 that understand the tone perfectly. It's ridiculous, it's over the top, and it's designed to entertain. Now, the story in Dead Island 2 is confused. Not in terms of plot. You're seemingly immune to the zombie virus. You're trying to escape LA, and you meet a bunch of weirdos along the way. That part is very easy enough to follow. The confusion comes from the tone. The game can't quite decide what it wants to be. When it leans into being a bloody, ridiculous action movie, it actually works. The writing turns up the volume, the NPCs go full character, and the missions embrace the chaos. Your character, whichever one you pick, throws out dumb one-liners mid-fight, they swear constantly, and they never seem particularly concerned about the literal apocalypse happening around them. It's nonsense, but it's fun nonsense. And then out of nowhere, especially in the back half of the game, Dead Island 2 starts trying to get serious. It introduces emotional moments. Characters mourn the dead. The prospect of fulfilling your purpose and giving your life meaning is presented as a key theme. And look, I appreciate wanting your game to say something, but the writing just isn't built to support any of that. The dialogue stumbles, the performances can't carry that weight, and the pacing falls apart. Instead of feeling impactful, the serious scenes just sit there kind of awkwardly, sandwiched between missions where you're slicing up zombies in bikinis. The shift isn't subtle, it's quite jarring. It feels like two different visions of this game were competing the whole way through. One that just wanted to be a trashy, over-the-top splatterfest, and one that thought it could pull off something deeper. And unfortunately, the second one just doesn't land. There's also the issue with your player character's tone, which is never affected by anything that goes on. No matter what tragedy happens, no matter how many times they nearly die, they just keep joking, keep quipping, and they never take anything seriously. Now, this does fit the vibe during the absurd moments, but during the emotional beats, it makes everything feel quite hollow. It's hard to buy into a scene about grief when you're cracking jokes literally a minute later. It's not a deal breaker, but it is a missed opportunity, because when Dead Island 2 knows what kind of game it wants to be, a chaotic, campy, blood-soaked power fantasy, it's actually pretty damn good. It just doesn't always stick to that. And every time it tries to be something it's not, something emotional, grounded, or profound, it loses its footing. The game doesn't need to be deep, it just needs to be fun. And for the most part, it is! But the moments where it tries to be more only highlight the fact that it was never built for that in the first place. Dead Island 2 is fine. It's not amazing, it's not groundbreaking, it's just fine. It doesn't move the genre forward, it plays things incredibly safe, but it still delivers on the basic promise. Here is a big pile of zombies. Here is a bunch of ways to kill them. And here is a ridiculous enough world to let you enjoy it without thinking too hard. But in the end, it shines brightest when it just embraces the dumb, stylish, blood-splattered fun. Sometimes that's all a game needs to be, and Dead Island 2 knows it, even if it forgets it every now and then. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. I hope that you did enjoy it. If you did, then please consider leaving a like, as it really does help And remember, we are trying to get to 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so if you could subscribe, I would really appreciate it. I upload at least one video a week, but for now, that is all. Have a nice day, and goodbye.